We had a call out to meet with our educators, and we expected 20 to 25 at the church, and found that at that point we had over 60 people involved in some form of professional education. Teachers, administrators, crossing guards, bus drivers, board members, professors, presidents, all serving diligently, all making sacrifices of their time, their money, and many of them their dreams to help adults and children. They all have some desire to change the system, to change the administration, to change the day that the school year is over. They all have some ignoble sense of being involved because they want a better humanity, to change the world, to change the school district. They all have a calling. But when we ask them how their calling fits with the grand story of God, they couldn't fill in the blanks objectively. When we ask them, how does grading papers bestow dignity on every student, their hands raised slowly. When we ask them, how do you rest? How do you spend your summer vacations with God, resting into the next work that He has for you? Silence. And when I ask them, what if God wants you to stay in that drudgerous position for a little longer, doing what God needs you to do there? That's when they started to run from me also. But we didn't give up on them because we believe God's call was bigger than their plans. This evolved into what we have called the Education Consortium, or EC. EC is a space for our educators to reevaluate calling, seeking to understand exactly what it is they've been called to do. It's the place where our educators are back in class asking the tough questions. What does God tell us about Himself through the Laplace transform and other complex mathematics? Or how incredibly complex is this God that we serve when He takes simple words and combines them to convey meaning in the sentence that I just articulated to you? Or why is it that the crossing guard gives us one of the greatest lessons in gatekeeping and hospitality? Our educators are tough ones because they already have this innate sense of calling, and they have purpose, and their purpose is good, but even they realize that God's purpose gives better light to their purpose, and that His story is better than any vision board they could create for themselves or for others. He is, after all, the great author and finisher. We love our leaders and our EC members, and they're leaders, and they know so. They know it to be true. But even they come to realize that their leadership goes further when God's plan is bigger than their lesson plans. So who's a leader? Who's not a leader? The better question we ask is who's not a leader? When we understand that every person is a leader, we see that every person has the potential for flourishing, and not just those who work within the building called the church. When every person is a leader, we realize that our vocations are essential to flourishing and not just there to get us by. When every person is a leader, we all have personal calling, but it's just not big enough. God's people can be useful to flourishing wherever they are. When we come to recognize that clearly, we see that God's plan and that God's purpose and God's story makes us tall enough to live for Him. Thank you.